What's up, traders? Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is August 13th, 2021. We made it to Friday, which is awesome. Another trading week in the books. Going to make this a quick recap video because it is Friday. Quick disclaimer, nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. And last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account to any one of my trades or any one of anyone's trades for that matter. Let's jump into today's price action. Our S&P 500 box scores for today. Up 0.18% for the SPY, up 0.35% for the Nasdaq QQQ, down 0.91% for the IWM small caps, which were a big loser on the day, and then the Dow Jones was up 0.05%. So overall today was another choppy, boring day in the markets. And I think those boring days in the markets are actually the toughest to navigate, because a lot of times you'll see opportunities that aren't really there, and you'll force opportunities. So to me, that's the best thing about trading in a group, like the group that we have, Pristine Capital, where it's like even when the market action is like pretty boring, you can kind of like chat with other people and be like, okay, like we're all seeing that this is pretty boring action, right? Like that's one of the benefits, where like you're not going to be sitting there over trading, doing stupid things. That being said, S&P 500 pretty elevated off this 5-day EMA. Look at this. So even when you're in the most bullish of trends, there are periodic pullbacks to both the 20-day SMA and the 5-day EMA. Look at this. We had pullbacks to the 5-day EMA consistently. We touch it almost every couple of trading sessions. Even when we were in this sequence back here, we were constantly touching the 5-day. So do I think there's amazing risk reward here? No, absolutely not. No way, no how. So it doesn't mean the market can't keep going higher, but yeah, we're getting pretty extended at this point. We do also have options expiration coming up next week. Let's look at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq not quite as extended, and yeah, you can see a nice candle up 0.29%. Closed not directly on the highs, but pretty close there. Russell, wow, so this is our big loser for the day. Russell was down 1%, and this one I must say, it's been a tug of war between the bulls and the bears, where it's just, one day we're up, one day we're down, one day we're shaking out to the downside, then we reverse to the upside, next day the opposite. So this one, at this point, is really anyone's guess which way this is going to resolve. But yeah, there was some heavy selling pressure there today. And then we have the Dow Jones. Dow Jones, oh wow, this is interesting. So it looks like we pretty much tagged this R1 pivot level at 35,528. But then we sort of reversed off of it, and we ended up putting in what looks like a topping candle, and it's like a red hammer candle. Let's jump into our market breadth. Market breadth was pretty mixed. So S&P 500 54% advancers, Nasdaq QQQ 65% advancers. IWM the worst with only 30% advancers. So depending on which areas of the market that you're in, you're having a much different experience. Although almost everything is green on the headline indices, about half the stocks, and probably a little bit more than half when you include the Russell 2000, they were all down for the day. Finviz heat map, nice and green in some of these different areas. So semis are pretty strong here. You can see the defensives are pretty strong. Healthcare. That brings us to our sectors and style factors. So check this out. Getting more granular as we go. We had some haves and some have-nots today. So we had the YOLO ETF, cannabis, down 3.3%. Chinese stocks, KWEB, down 2.11%. And then some of the winners were, barely any winners. Look at this. It's ridiculous. So we had utilities, big winner. Consumer staples, big winner. We had, what else? Semis, big winner, and gold miners. So that's not really like the most risk-on configuration. And then style factors, our big leader for today, we had international value up 0.46%. And then we had Minvol, a 0.42%. So Minvol being essentially like our best US style factor, and the worst performers being cyclicals, high beta, and momentum. That's not good. That tells me like something is going on under the hood here, and most traders are not even going to pick up on this. Most traders, they just think like every day is the same. But me, like my spidey senses start tingling when I see this configuration. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I did take off a little bit of risk today. So that brings us to my trades. Let's pull some of those up. Okay, so for stock trades, I was basically just taking some risk down. There were a bunch of things I had on that were green. I wanted to take a few of those off and then just lop off any last minute positions that are in the red. I try not to carry too many red positions. But yeah, we have closed at half of my 5 common shares. This one had a really nice run. Check this out. So 5, beautiful breakout. And I caught this right as it was coming out of this base. And yeah, the stock got pretty extended. So I figured, this environment, do I want to be greedy and try to hold out for an even bigger move? Not really, especially if it's a retail name. It's not exactly like my specialty area. So yeah, I took that off for 221.02. I'd paid 207.81. I took some Apple common shares long. I closed out. I had a triple leveraged IWM fund that I just purchased via common shares. Closed that out for a very minimal loser. Closed out for 86.52. I'd paid 87.75. And I was able to sidestep, the big sell-off that occurred at the end of the day. I closed out 2/3 of my Zim. This one put in a nice move for 44.92. I'd paid 42.99. Let's see, Zim. Yeah, this one tagged the upper Bollinger Band around where I started selling most of my stake. Yeah, nice green candle for Zim. And then I took some Datadog for a day trade, hit a small winner on that one. And then I closed out 10% of my Unity common shares for 128.35. I had paid 122.03. So another nice little winner. Yeah, this one finished, very strong. I took a very small target in this one. Do I think Unity could get back and fill this gap at about like 147? Absolutely, which is why I'm trying to be a little bit patient with this one. I took a very small target. It's mostly for psychological purposes, where if this pulls back, I'll be like, yeah, and I took like that 10% target, just a little helper. As it is pretty overbought here. And then option side, I had a BP put spread, closed it out for 59 cents. I had originally received 39 cents for that one. And BP definitely looked pretty weak today. So this one, I was like, let me just cut this thing. This is pretty weak. And yeah, wow. So this one closed, very weak. So that's the good thing about managing your risk. A lot of times you can sidestep things a little bit early before they really hit you hard in your portfolio. So yeah, got those off the books. Let's take a quick look at our options order flow. One of my indicators that I use pretty heavily is definitely flashing a pretty interesting signal. I'm going to go over that on the Pristine Capital weekend market analysis video. But let's jump into, so I'll talk way more about that. But let me jump into our options order flow for the purposes of this recap. Okay, here we go. And then let's go to our options races. Let's go to today's combined flows. And let's see what we got. Tesla is usually one of our flow leaders. See Amazon not too far behind. We had Facebook, which was in the top 5 today. It's interesting. Yeah, so Facebook was number 1, 2, 3, 4 on our list. Let's check out Facebook. Yeah, Facebook just put in a little doji candle. So yeah, we're going to have a lot to cover on our weekend analysis this week. Every week I put out a watch list and also just like an overall market analysis video. More to come on that. With that being said, that about does it for this market recap video. Hope you all had an awesome trading session, a nice Friday, and hope you have great weekends.